Good day to you all. Welcome to Communication in 5 revision. So I'm going to start by answering question A, which is organizational communication. Organizational communication. Organizational communication. So I'm going to question one. Right. So I'm going to read. Rama sees an advertisement in the local newspaper for a job at pep stores. The display advertisement has pictures and is lively. The advertisement is clearly aimed at young people. He decides to apply and sends in his CV and cover letter by email to Mr. Radebe, who is the human resource manager. Mr. Radebe apologizes for interrupting his busy assistant and instructed to send an official SMS to Rama, inviting him to an interview. Rama phones the assistant to accept and politely asks for directions. However, he cannot keep the assignment out of his voice. Right. Question 1.1. Name the 3 channels or media of written communication mentioned in the scenario. Right. So Rama decides to send the CV through email. So that's a channel that was used in email. All right. There's an advertisement that was placed on a local newspaper. It's also a channel of communication. Right. And Mr. Radebe apologies for interrupting his busy assistant and instructed to send an official SMS to Ram. So SMS is also a channel that was used to transport the message. Right. So let's go to question 1.2. This is 1.1. Let's go to 1.2. Right. State whether each of the channels or media mentioned in question 1.1 is an example of either internal or external communication. All right. So let's discuss the email. An email, is it an internal or an external? Right. This is what you call an external communication. External communication. Right. External communication. Right. And then an advertisement is also an external communication because they are communicating to the outside world, which are the job seekers. So it's an external communication. External communication. How about an SMS? It is also an external communication because an SMS is sent to an external or people who are outside the organization. External communication. Right. So let's move on to 1.3. 1.3. Right. State whether each of the channels or media mentioned in question 1.1 is an example of either mass or interpersonal communication. Right. So an email is an interpersonal, right? It is between Rama and Mr. Radebe. So it's an interpersonal communication. Right? An advertisement, an advert is a mass because it is sent on a local newspaper. It's sent on a local newspaper, so it's a mass communication. So an SMS that was sent is also interpersonal. It is between 2 people. Interpersonal communication. Right. Let's go to 1.4. 1.4. 1.4. Right. Name the two media of oral communication mentioned in the scenario. Right. Media of formal communication. Name two media of oral communication mentioned in this scenario. Right. We have face-to-face, 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 right? And also telephone, right? Right. SMS, so face-to-face and telephone, right? Let's go to 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Let's go to 1.5, 1.5, right? 1.5, right? State whether the issue of the media of oral communication mentioned in 1.4 is an example of either internal or external communication. Right. I think we have answered this one. 1.15, right? Is it an internal? I think it's a repetition with question 1.3. 1.3. Right. So, okay, it's not, so the question is saying, state whether the statement in 1.4. So if you say face-to-face, is it an internal or external? Right. So face-to-face is what we call an internal communication. One has to be at the workplace to communicate face-to-face. Right. What about telephone? A telephone is an external communication outside. When you're communicating with people outside the organization, we call it an external communication. An external communication. Right. So let's go to 1.6, 1.6, 1.6, 1.6, 1.6. Right. Saying name the type of intervention represented by each of the following scenario. 1.61, an employee is continuously taking time off from work to care for her children and her boss comes to her desk to talk to her about it. So what is what form of intervention is this one? Right. Since there is no records or it is not planned, it becomes what you call an informal meeting or a friendly meeting. Right. Let's go to 1.62. Two employees agree to help each other out. Mr. X will do overtime for Mr. Y on Thursday, and Mr. Y will come in early for Mr. X on Mondays. That's what we call bargaining. They've collectively bargain. Call it bargaining intervention. Bargaining. Right. That's what we call bargaining. They've bargained with each other. Right. Right. Let's go to 1.6. 1.63. Management and the workers' union cannot agree on a salary increase and have called in the help of the CCMA, Commission for Conciliation, Mediation and Arbitration, as a third party to facilitate an agreement. Right? That's what you call arbitration. When you call for a third party, we call it an arbitration. Arbitration. Yes, arbitration. CCMA is an arbitrator, right? Arbitration, when you call in for one to help you to come up with an agreement. That's what you call an arbitration, bargaining process. All right, so let's move on to another question. Right. Let's go to 1.7. Choose the description from column B that matches column A. Right. So column A, right, it says responsibility. Right. What is a responsibility? Right. Responsibility is part of security guards' job to lock the building every evening, but sometimes he forgets. So 1.71 is responsible for locking the premises. Is responsible for locking the premises is a responsibility. Right, 1.72 punctuality. It's all about being on time. Being on time. So let's choose the scenario. All right, scenario here. Right. So you can find that. See, you hand in your progress report on Thursday when it was due on Monday. Right. You hand over on Tuesday. You have a problem with punctuality. You didn't send it on time. It has to do with submitting or being on time, right? Let's move on to question 1.7. Question 1.72. Question 1.72. 1.73, right? Professionalism, right? Professionalism is when you do things according to you are being professional, right? For example, if you choose from this scenario, you can find that when you are rude to customer, it means that you are not professional, right? When you are rude to customers, you are not professional. Let's go to 1.74, right? Confidentiality is all about keeping confidential information private, ne? Private. So, which scenario will suit best, right? Let's say you are the secretary and you have typed your manager's letter of resignation that he is going to hand in the next week. You tell your friend that's it means that you lack what confidentiality. Your friend in the sales department, and she tells another friend. That's B. Right. It means that you lack you breach the confidentiality code, right? And then let's move on to the last one is 1.75, right? Consideration, when you respect and you consider other people, right? That's right. Let's go. The last one, which is what? Candy shares a desk with another assistant, and she always leaves papers lying all over the space. It means that the person has lacked what? Considerate, is not considerate, which is A, right? Which is A, right? So let's move on to 1.8. 1.8, 1.8, right? 1.8, indicate whether the following statements are true or false by writing only the true or false next to the question number, right? An employee, 1.81, an employee has the right to borrow without permission something that belongs to the employer. Without information, that's not true. That's not true. It's supposed to seek permission. Right, let's go to 1.82. 1.282. A democratic manager involves employees in the decision making. That's true. Right. Let's go to 1.83. Right. The corporate culture of an organization is not its unique personality. That's false. It's the unique personality of the what? Of the organization. And then let's go to 1.84. 1.84. One advantage of grapevine is that it breeds inappropriate familiarity between junior and senior members in the organization. That's one advantage of the grapevine, is that it breeds inappropriate. It becomes a disadvantage, right? So, so it becomes an advantage, right? Inappropriate familiarity between, that's true. That's true, right? 1.85, negotiation could involve two or more people. That's true. Negotiation involves two or more parties, right? Two or more parties, right? Let's go to 1.86, right? Verbal communication refers to instructions from management. So the vertical communication refers to instructions from management downwards to employees, as well as instructions from employees upwards. Right? That's vertical communication refers to instruction from the manager to downwards, and also instruction from the employees upwards. Right? Employees cannot make instructions, right? So that's false. That's false, right? They cannot give the management instructions, right? Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is section B, formulation of aims and objectives. Formulations of aims and objective. Question 2. Question 2, right? Various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions, right? 2.11, general statement of a purpose one hopes to achieve. We call it what? This is what we call a what? An aim. An aim. Aims are general. Aims are general. I would like to buy a car. It does not have specific dates or even period, right? It does not have a time frame, right? It's not specific. It's just general, right? 2.12. In the acronym SMART, the aim stands for measurable, which is A, right? Let's go to 2.13. A goal should be relevant, realistic, and attainable, which is C. A goal is supposed to be attainable, right? 2.14, to dash means to pass a task to someone. That's delegation. That's delegation. When you pass a task to another person, we call it delegation, right? Your dash would depend on the quality of the work you put in. That's what you call an output. Right? And then 2.16, a book with spaces for planning days and months. We call it what? We call it a diary. It has spaces for planning for days and months. It can start from January to December, right? Right. Let's move on to the next question. Which is 2.2. 2.2. Right. Name the time control techniques referred to the following, to each of the following scenario. Right. 2.21. Right. A lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We have 24 hours. So, right. 2.1. When we need to look for which technique, control technique, lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We have 24-hour days. That's what you call a diary. You can use a diary as a control technique, right? 2.22, right? 2.22, when you entrust a task to someone, do not check up on him or her constantly, However, do not assume that the product will be exactly what you want. We call it what? Delegation. When you're assigning a task, it's called delegation. Delegation, right? Let's go to 2.23, right? This is the ability to control your emotions and behavior in every circumstance. For example, you respect other people's time and you say no calmly when the other person wants to misuse your time. We call it self-control, 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 ability to control or to manage your time, self-control, right? Okay, let's go to 2.3. 2.3. Let's go to 2.3. 2.3. Let's go to 2.3. Right. Clearly define the following concept. Right. The Patero principle. What is the Patero principle? 2.31. Right. So here it can be used to improve productivity and time management. Right. It's a principle that is used. Is a principle used to control or to improve productivity, and time management. It is a technique or a principle that is used to improve productivity and time management. Right? So it can also be used to better understand where you should be spending your time and effort. It can help you to improve how your time and your effort should be used, right? Let's move on to 2.32, right? Time management. Time management, right? So time management is all about the ability to use time effectively and at work. It is the ability to utilize time effectively. The ability to effectively use time at work, effectively use time at work, right? At work, right? So let's move on to 2.4. 2.4. 2.4. 2.4, right? It says tabulate differentiate between aims and objectives. So here you are supposed to make a table. You're supposed to make a table so that you can be able to differentiate. Pardon my table. It's not as clear of as it should be, right? It's not as good as it should be, right? 2.4. 2.4, right? 2.4. You're supposed to tabulate. You're supposed to give the differences between aims and objectives. Differences between aims and objectives. So here I'm going to aims and objectives. Aims and objectives, right? You can find that aims are general. Aims are general statements that are subjective. General statements that are subjective, and these ones are very specific. They are very specific and detailed. Objectives are specific and detailed, right? And also you can find that aims are for a long term. Aims are for a long term, and objectives are for a short term period, right? to medium term, to medium, right? Talking about short term, we're talking about of a plan for 2 to 3 years, right? And find that objectives have no time frame, have no time frame, have no time frame, right? Or time limit. But this one's has time frame. In 6 months, I'm going to lose 10 kgs, right? And then these ones, they are not measurable. They are not measured. They are not measured, right, for achievement. And also these ones, achievements can be measured. Achievements can be measured. Right. Okay, let's move on to another question, which is on section C, social and mass media communication and advertising. Question three. Right. So name the two main factors that determine the sender's choice of language in mass communication. Right. So the sender's choice of language depend on the target audience. Are the audience literate or illiterate? Are the audience young or adults? All right. And also the objective or the purpose of the message. The purpose of the message. It will determine the what? The choice of language that is going to be used. Right. Let's go to 3.2. Thelma looks at the principal's notice. Important PTA meeting on 5 May. Parents must be there at 18:30. The principal has asked her to SMS it as a bulky message to all the parents. Thelma decides to change the wording. The notice now reads, "We know how hard you work to give your children a good education. Please attend PTA, Parent Teacher Association meeting on Tuesday, 5 May 2030 at the high school. We will discuss the issues close to your heart and find solutions. Your opinion counts. Reflections will be provided. We shall close it 2000 sharp. See you there. We need your valuable input." That evening was their best attendance ever. All right. 2.31. So we can go 3.2, sorry, 3. Let's go to 3.21. 3.2 and name the target group. These are the target group are the parents or the guardians, right, of the high school students, right. And then 3.22, identify the sender of the message. The sender is Thelma. The school is the school. The school is the one that is sending to what? To the parents. 3.23. Identify the mass media used, whereby they use bulk SMSs, right? And then let's move on to 3.24. Right, give two advantages of this media. Right, you can find that it reaches the audience fast. It reaches the audience fast. It reaches the audience fast. It reaches the audience fast since it's bulky, right? So it's gonna reach as many audience, all the audience at once, right? And also, it is less expensive. It is less expensive. It is less expensive. It is less expensive, right? Let's go to 3.2, 4, 3.24, 3.24, right? Give two advantages of this media, we talked about it, and then 3.245, write down any three facts that might have persuaded the parents group or appealed to them and make them feel that their situation is understood, right? It's when he said, we know how hard you provide or you give, you hard you work. We know how hard, you know how hard you work, right? And you know how hard you work, and also your opinion counts, your opinion counts, your opinion counts. And also refreshments will be provided. Refreshments will be provided. Will be provided. Right. And also see you there. 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 Right. See you there. Right. Right. Let's move on to 3.3. 3.3. 3.3. Define the concept manipulative reporting and list techniques used in manipulative reporting, right? Manipulative reporting and techniques used in manipulative reporting, right? So manipulative reporting, manipulative reporting, it is what you call a what? A selective or a biased reporting by a person, right? Whereby he wants to give a favorable or a positive or a negative impression. That's manipulative reporting, right? So we're going to discuss techniques used by in manipulative techniques used in manipulative or methods used in manipulative reporting. Techniques or methods used in manipulative reporting, right? You use emotional language. Use emotional language to manipulate the audience. They also do what you call selective reporting. Selective reporting. They report selectively, and also they also report out of context. Reporting out of context. Reporting out of context. Right. And you can find that they take they take photos in other they take photographs. They take photographs or images from certain angles. They take images from certain angles. And also they use incorrect statistical reporting. Right. Okay, let's move on to the next question, right? Which is 3.4. 3.4, right? Match the numbered statements in the advertisement below, right? Below the relevant techniques, right? So each technique applies only once. Write only the number and answer. James find a leaflet that has been published under his door. Are you tired of being overweight? Get our slimming pills now. Your boss thinks you are lazy and have no self-control. 2, your co-workers call you fatty behind your back. 3, our product will get you thin and desirable in no time. 4, you are overweight because you eat too much. 5, no other product can suppress your appetite. 6, a doctor, trimester, a specialist in appetite control has formulated this very effective pill. 7, all our customers are satisfied with it. Right. So 3.41, creating false expectations. That's 3, our products will get you thin and desired in all time, which is number 3. They are creating false what? Expectations. 3.42, exaggerating. Where we can find exaggeration is whereby all our customers are satisfied with it, which is number 7, right? And then 3.43, right? Where they say where are they generalizing, which is number 4. They say you are overweight because you eat too much, right? Which is number 4, right? Lying, which is number 4. You are overweight because you eat too much. That's a lie. Lying. Number 5, which is no other product can suppress your appetite. And then 3.45, name calling. It is being shown on 2 statement. Your co-workers will call you fatty behind your back, which is number 2. That's name calling. And then 3.46, stereotyping, which is your boss thinks you are lazy and have no self-control. That's stereotyping. Right. Let's go to question 4, which is on section D. Question 4. Right, section D. Right, multicultural communication in the business world. Right. So we are going to do question 4.1. Right. List 3 language barriers. That may lead to unsuccessful communication. You can find that where barriers like pronunciation, when pronunciation might differ, that might also cause what? That might also cause communication breakdown. It might be vocabulary, choice of vocabulary that is being used, right? And also the volume and tempo of the message. And might also cause what? Communication unsuccessful. For example, volume, when the volume is low, the receiver might not be able to receive the communication effectively. Right. Let's go to question 4.2. List the 3 signs that could indicate that communication is unsuccessful. Right. Points that might indicate that communication is unsuccessful. Right. 4.2. Right. Can find that use of non-verbal. Can you find other non-verbal signs can indicate that the person do not receive the communication effectively. For example, a frown on the face, right? That's non-verbal. It might be poor feedback when one is providing poor feedback. It shows that communication was not successful, right? And also wrong action, right? If you notice wrong action, it means that communication was not effective. Let's go to 4.3. List 3 skills that are important when using written communication. Important skills when you are using written communication, right? You are supposed to use appropriate vocabulary. You are supposed to use appropriate vocabulary, right? And also make sure that your sentences are constructed effectively, right? And also minimize abbreviations. Acronyms. You need to minimize acronyms, abbreviations, and jargon. You're supposed to minimize jargon, right? And also you're supposed to make sure that you use the most suitable document format. Use the most suitable document format, right? Formatting, right? For conveying a message. You need to make sure that you use the suitable format when you're conveying a message, right? Let's go